Hi everybody, so today we've got a slightly different video for you, and obviously I am joined by a guest. So we've got Michael here with us, and we're going to be talking about something that we've never spoken about before on our channel, but it is something that does need to be spoken about. So in a recent webinar that Michael did for us, he touched on mental health and your own well-being as a groomer. Now obviously you are always looking after other people's dogs well-being, making sure that they're looked after, but as a groomer it's definitely very important to be looking after yourself, your own well-being and your own mental health. So we thought we would just have a little sit-down chat together, have a little conversation about it. Michael can talk about his experience, and we'll just give some tips and advice on ways that we think is important to look after your well-being and your mental health. So obviously in the current climate and the way that things are at the minute, your well-being and your mental health are very, very important. Things are very different at the minute. Everything's kind of up in the air, it's still unknown. So trying to deal with that while also running your own business. Maybe if you're a student, it's quite stressful because your courses have been maybe postponed. So things are very up in the air and they're all over the place for everybody. So if you do feel that this video is fitting for you and maybe you're having a bit of a hard time with your mental health or your well-being, this might be a good way to kind of make you feel less like you're alone, because trust me, everybody is going through it at the minute. So you've had a bit of previous experience before you became a groomer in working in a mental health hospital, didn't you?
Yes, I did, and I worked on it for nearly 17 years. And while I was out in the hospital, I got a lot of my eyes opened to a lot of illnesses that can occur just very, very simply, like a trauma for one of them. I have a friend at the minute who's very, very ill at the minute, and it was just all to do with trauma and things like that, you know. And even in this lockdown, whenever we were all locked down, and like 10 weeks being out of work, Tori, it's hard. It's hard, you know, and your head, you know, you think, oh, I'm grand, I'm strong enough, you know, I can deal with this, and I can stay at home and I can play with a child, and I can jump on the trampoline, and I can do all these things that you want to do. And yes, it is very, very, very good if you have somebody around you, but there are 9 times out of 10 people out there don't. Now, when I say mental health, my thing for me was 10 weeks out of work. I was worrying about the future.
Of course.
I was worrying about how am I going to bring people back to the salon? How am I going to keep my students safe? What am I going to do? What am I going to get in place? So therefore we went out and we got all the relevant things, and we followed the guidelines at all times, and we got everything in place and whatever else. Now I felt myself slipping. First 4 or 5 weeks I was great. I spent time with my daughter, having a ball. We were very lucky, we had good weather.
The weather was a big help. It was a big help.
But then again, good weather leads to barbecuing, and then sipping over little glasses of wine and things like that. You know, and that's not good for you whenever you're not feeling too good in yourself. And for the first, as I say, 4 or 5 weeks, I was
like a holiday.
Active. I was out on my bike. Me and her were cycling. We were meeting up with friends, of course, keeping social distancing, and driving along, you know, the river of Derry there, the Foyle River, and you've probably seen it on my Facebook page, bits and pieces, and that was keeping me very sane. But then I started slipping. And my head was starting to go, and I was starting to go, oh my God, is this real? Is this really happening? What's going on? We were all feeling the same. And social media. Dangerous.
Very dangerous. Social media has so many pros and cons, and obviously I'm massive on the Christies direct social media because that is my job, and you know, it's a wonderful platform and you can gain so much knowledge and so much understanding of so many different things. Obviously ours is a business based, so you're learning about products, you're getting advice from the likes of Michael and videos, but it can also be a very dangerous place if you're not monitoring it properly, and if you're maybe taking in content that you're not realising is having an effect on your health.
Exactly, like even
I find that
a lot of them posts up about dogs being stole, dogs being in this situations, people fighting with one another. You know, it was a big issue there in lockdown, and I had a lot of people contact me and saying, oh my God, this one says this or this one says that, and it's all over social media. Yes, I know we all can fire stones and we can all do things like that, and I'm no innocent person. Yes, I maybe have an opinion on things, but try and voice it to your best friend or something that's not going to go all over Facebook and these keyboard warrior things. It does affect really, really bad. And I did put up a little post there in lockdown, just a wee video on one of the Groomers pages, Groomers NI, just about, you know, be careful of what you're saying to each other, because stones and stigma hurt. you know, and
do.
it does stick. And if you're being nasty and things, then it's not a very nice thing to do.
And because you've got all the time in the world during lockdown, you know, you're sitting and, like you say, you're not at your job and you're not doing your normal things. So social media is where you go as your outlet and your escapism from the reality that is this pandemic, and you're bored. Exactly. And people don't realise that saying those things over the internet, like, you know, I get it as well on the Christies site, unfortunately, but that is just the way that it is.
You've had your experience and you've voiced it with me. I've had my experience of people talking about you and talking about me or whatever. Yes, that's fine. Some people like me and you, we can't handle it because we're in that, and we're on the social media, we are in the limelight and things like that, and we have to learn to, you know, over your head, and it's not easy for everybody to do that. We sort of have training in that in a sense, because we're on it all the time. But I mean, you know, for people out there, like the things that I've seen and things that I've heard and things like that, it's a bit over the top.
The point of that was just don't get caught up in it.
And if you get a negative, turn it into a positive.
Yeah,
if people are slagging you off, then they're jealous of you. That's just the way it is.
Yeah. So literally, that is the point about the social media and the lockdown, especially, is that I know myself. I was constantly on it, constantly looking at social media. What are other people doing during lockdown? And you know, everybody deals with these things really differently. Some people prefer to just stay at home, stay into themselves, don't express it. Other people are wanting to show you what they had for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and that is fine. Everyone is entitled to do what they want.
That's what it's for. It's a platform to build, and it's a platform to get you out there. It is a platform to be
seen,
a speaker or whatever it is. Just if you want to be that type of person, you know, and just but be very careful, be kind to one another. And if you do get a wee bit of a negative, turn it into a positive, guys, because it's just somebody being jealous or want to be what you're doing or do whatever you're doing. So
or they nearly have problems themselves.
They have their own problems and they're just pushing it onto you. That's all it is. So guys, you know, social media, use it for your business. Use it, yes, to speak to your friends and family things, if you've got family groups and things like that, like most people do. But use it positively, because when it comes to all those negative things, just turn them into a positive. That's what I try and do in my life these days, and it works. It makes you happy. What do you think?
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Me and her get slagged off all the time. It's really a bit of fun.
You have to just let it go over your head, so you do. So that was one of the main things that we kind of wanted to touch on about lockdown.
Oh, and another thing.
Yeah.
Exercise.
Yes.
Great for the mental health, even if it's just a brisk walk. Just get out there, go for a walk, go for a run, even if it's 20 minutes.
Do it, yeah.
Because you know what, you're in a busy day now, we're all back at work, and I guarantee we're doing less dogs, obviously we all are, because you can't do what you used to do at the start because of these guidelines. You have to stick by them. But guys, you know what, the way that I've done it and the way that I say to everybody, and I'm going to say it again, if you have to increase your price, you increase your price. There's nothing you can do about it. You know, you're still running a business. All the bills are still there. In fact, things is a way up.
Bills and everything are going up with that.
Everything has gone up with that. Even electric's going to go up. Your rates is going to go up. Everything is going to change in the next future, because we've been so lucky with the government that we have to give us money and help us with everything that we're going through. But when you think about it, everything's going to go up next year, guys. So, you know, if you have to increase your price, don't be feeling guilty about it, because I used to for years and years and years, and until one of my customers actually turned around and said to me, Michael, do you know what, why should you feel guilty? I said, look, I hate doing this, and I'm sorry, you know, I have to put £5 on your 2 dogs. I know it should be £5 a dog, but you're bringing 2, so I'll let you still have a £5 off, but I'll put £5 on your 2 dogs, and I'm sorry that I have to do that. I hope you understand. He says, why are you feeling guilty about that? And I said, you know, why was I feeling guilty about that?
But
I shouldn't have to. But like, you know yourself, taxes go on and everything. Taxes go on, and as groomers, we try and keep it in the business. You're afraid to put up prices. We are. And even hairdressers, everybody, we're all the same. But products go up. Taxes be added on. The government slap taxes on. It's not Christie's fault that the scissors used to be £25, now they're £28. It's not our fault that the dog used to be £28, now it's £32. It's not our fault, because we have to try and cover our costs.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, don't be afraid, guys. Just, if you have to do it, you have to do it. And
that's a massive worry, especially during the lockdown, as well as obviously money problems. And you know, we're not going to get too deep into it, because we want this to just be kind of a light-hearted chat, and we're just dusting over it. But you know, that's another massive worry that was affecting people's mental health, was how am I going to afford to pay my bills whenever I'm not in work for 10 weeks, and how am I going to be able to do this? So sometimes you do have to put yourself and the wellness of your business in front of anything else. And if your customers are loyal enough and they love coming to you, and they have been for a while, they will understand. So, you know, don't feel guilty about it in that way. And there's plenty of places out there that give loads of business advice. You know, obviously we can't provide that advice because we're not professionals in that area, but you know, there's loads of different forums out there, and I'll link some down below that you could maybe go and speak to if you're worried about things to do with your business or the running of your business, or maybe covering costs and all that there sort of thing. So yeah, just kind of wanted to touch on that as well, because obviously, like Michael said, that is really important, and putting the wellness of you and your business and your future and your livelihood as well at the forefront, because that is important.
When in business, you've got to run at a profit. You can't run at just a breaking even. It doesn't work like that. You have to make a profit. You can't live without making a profit, and that's what we're here, and that's why we do it, and that's why we get into business. So guys, if you have to put it up, put it up.
And then touching them back, obviously, on the whole exercise thing, taking that time for yourself at some stage in the day is very important.
15-20 minutes is all it takes.
15 or 20 minutes could be reading a book. In work at the minute, we're doing this challenge, and everyone has different goals that they've set. So some people are weight loss, some people are wanting to read one book.
I think we're all at weight loss after 10 weeks of eating
lockdown, literally. But yeah, so we're all making sure to set aside, because obviously we work in an office, so sitting at a desk all day. So mine was to obviously lose weight and read a book. But the point of me telling you that is that you also need to set time aside for yourself. Again, you're caring for other people's dogs. You're maybe not doing as much in a day, but it's still stressful making sure that all of the processes are followed, that you're following government guidelines, that you're following regulations. And
cleaning up after every single dog and sterilising. It can take time.
And employees, if you've got employees too.
Yeah, if you're afraid of your employees catching anything and whatever else, and then you're distancing and all that there. So yes, I know the things have came down a wee bit, and the distancing can be a wee bit more closer and whatever else. Yes, that's fine, but I mean, you know,
still stressful.
It's stressful when you run a business. You know, you're caring about everybody. You're not just running that business and your mind's stuck on this business. Anybody that comes through that door, as in students, we don't allow any customers through the door, because we've got a place for the dogs to be put into before they come through the door. But not everybody's in that same situation. But for us, it's a wee bit different. But for like students and things that's coming through the door, I'm constantly worried about, oh my God, what if they caught something? What if they brought it in here? I have a child. You know, it's just constant. So guys, just
take time for yourself.
Take time, get out, go for a run, go for a walk.
Read a book, listen to a podcast, do something that is totally unrelated to your work, because, you know, you work from home, your business is at home. So
and you're 24 hours thinking about work.
Separate yourself, so you definitely do need to take time for yourself. But we just wanted to sit down and have a chat. This has kind of been a wee bit rambly, it's just been chatty, there's been no structure really to it, but we didn't want it to be like that. We wanted it to be a really just like natural, as if we're all sitting down and having a wee coffee.
As if we're sitting in your living room talking to you just like this.
Literally. So it was just to highlight the fact that Michael as a groomer and me on the other side of things, you know, on the social media side, that it is really, really important to be kind, take time for yourself, put yourself first, and yeah, really just look after yourself during the current times, because
and try not read negativity, because it just drives you insane.
And everybody is in the same boat at the minute, so do not feel alone if you maybe are struggling to speak to anybody about how you're feeling. There is loads of different forums, like I say, that you can go and speak to somebody, and yeah, just keep looking after yourselves, and when you look after yourself, everything else will fall into place. And
exactly,
that's it. That's all we really wanted to talk about. Thank you. And yeah, hope you enjoyed that another wee video, and it's a bit different, so if you do enjoy this style of video of sort of sitting down,
give us a wee bit of feedback, let us know, and if he's wanted to even sit down and have just like a wee question and answer thing, we're here. We can do it. So if that's something you really like, contact Christies, we email, drop us a line and see if it's something that we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.
Bye everyone. Again. You got your homework done. It's 1:30. You better be home by 10. You gotta go back to school again.